All right, Dirt Trax viewers, so we have come to the end of the season, and we're all a little bit sad, but at the same time, we've all had a great year, and we really want to go over each of our favorite picks, or maybe not favorite, but some of the highlights of this season that really stand out as impressive vehicles, something that's unique, something that's cool, or maybe it just fits a budget really nicely, maybe it doesn't. Two of the vehicles that stood out to me this year, one of them I'm probably going to get scathing hate mail for, but I really don't care because after spending time on it, I really enjoyed it, and that's the Ranger Kinetic. It's the ultimate. It's got the 29.8 kilowatt hour battery. I thought I was going to hate it because the previous Ranger Electric was like a golf cart on really poor steroids. This one is everything I thought it could be, and then so much more.
I 100% agree. I've driven it quite a bit this year, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this. I don't even want to like this. And I drove it, and I was like, dang, I really like this.
It's actually funny because I thought out of the three of us, you would be the one that might have liked it the least. No. I was at the intro last year, and I love this machine. Like it just lights up when you press the throttle, and it feels like every bit like a Ranger.
It lasts a long flipping time. Now, this being said, in Canada, it's $48,000 for the ultimate plus tax. Like you're talking mid $50,000 range. So this is an investment for a three-seater. But that being said, if you need an electric vehicle or if it fits the bill for your area, I was blown away. I rode it for a week and a half on one battery charge. Now that wasn't every day for 100 kilometers, but I did go out every single day and did something around the house, and it didn't need to be charged.
Yeah, see, you are the target market for this machine. You've got a good chunk of property, and this is what this vehicle is targeted for. Like, it's for someone who has property. They're gonna use it for chores around the house, going for light riding, you know, that sort of thing.
There's no disillusions that this is like your go out and go on a trail ride for 2 days vehicle. But nobody expects that from it.
And you know what? I was thinking about that too, because we do get a lot of comments for guys who are like, oh, I go out and do a 100-mile ride. But if you're doing 100 miles every day, are you buying a Ranger?
No.
Well, probably not,
probably
right?
Not.
Yeah, so it's not even your market.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So that was my standout on, I will say, the higher end of the spectrum price-wise. And then on the polar opposite, I absolutely love the new Outlander Pro. Like, we have the Hunting Edition and we had the XMR, and the Hunting Edition was the full Pro jam-packed HD7.
Yep.
And honestly, I think it is the most refined, smoothest riding, smoothest running engine in the entire business. Like I would pick that over their higher horsepower ATVs because it's so flipping smooth.
It's such a good class, and it's funny that you brought that up because I totally forgot that about that machine. It's an awesome machine. It is every bit that you said. It's refined. It does have a lot of electronics on it, which I personally think is really cool. Like you can literally customize your whole ride with the electronic engine braking, throttle control, EPS.
For a vehicle in that price range to have that much technology is pretty much unheard of.
And it rides and handles nice. You're not sacrificing anything with that smaller engine.
And when you go to shift it, you don't have to do this anymore.
The Audi hump.
Don't ever do that again.
The Humpty Hump.
You don't have to do that.
It's got an itch you're scratching.
That's right, yeah. But it goes into gear like it's supposed to. And honestly, I would say that this is the most, and I say this very respectfully, the most Japanese-American ATV I've ever ridden. And in fact, it surpasses the feel and the vibration-less experience. It is really, really good.
Right, you and I did have the opportunity to pit it against the Grizzly, which is the class leader there, and I mean, we both agreed that it's its first year, but man, I think
super high
made
mileage.
Money down for it.
Who knows? But
exactly,
initial experience, absolutely top notch. Who's next?
I picked two different vehicles. The first one that I really enjoyed this year was the ZFORCE 950 Sport. I had an opportunity to test out both the 800 Trail and the Sport, and I was so impressed with the Sport for a couple different reasons. You know, I think CFMOTO has done an amazing job in refinement. They've done a great job at checking their quality and improving their quality. It's got beautiful doors. You know, it's not without its flaws. To be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of the tires. The shocks aren't as intuitive as I wanted them to be. You know, it's using a CFMOTO. To be honest with you, I'm saying all this, and realistically, we should just do a build of that machine.
But you know what's cool about CFMOTO is that their whole hallmark is deliver it from the dealership with all the stuff that you got to pay at another dealership for. And typically, the price of it is yeah, it's not like 30 to 50% less than a North American or Japanese manufacturer, but it is probably like 20% less, and it comes with all the stuff. It's got a winch, it's got doors, it's got a roof, it's got a windshield a lot of the
Now,
time.
in the past, though, that meant taking a hit on build quality and overall quality, but I agree with Mike. After driving both of those vehicles, CFMOTO has gone from like down here in terms of like finish quality, build quality, and just general feel quality to like way up here. I'd put it on par. That Sport, I'd put that on par with any other 60-inch Sport side-by-side. I really would.
I agree with you. My prediction is if CFMOTO can continue on this level, then they are going to be a real threat to other manufacturers.
They're like the Hyundai and Genesis brand that originally everybody was like, oh, this is just a cheap car that you can get really inexpensive, and had its problems. And now people look at a Hyundai or a Kia or a Genesis and they go, oh, that's a really good quality vehicle.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some of those. We're going to see some of those quality complaints disappear, and they have a really solid 5-year warranty in Canada, and
Good dealer presence too.
Absolutely. So if CFMOTO can continue to provide parts to the dealers, and then the dealers can pass on that service to their customers, you're going to see CFMOTO do a lot to big things this year.
Awesome. What's your number two?
Number two, actually, I just finished my test ride on it, was the Wolverine X2 1000. Now, the model I tested was the SE. In the US, it's called the XTR, but this thing is awesome. Like, I said this in my test ride, and I wasn't just saying it, but literally, this is a machine I would buy if I was going to buy it. It's apart from some body styling differences, it's every bit that the R-Max is. Same engine and same cab, so you got your 999cc twin that absolutely rips, and it's got the Sachs ZF shocks, fully adjustable piggybacks.
Those are a great shock too. They're so undersold.
They are.
They are a really good
They
shock.
are, and the surprising thing was the value. I mean, it's significantly less than an R-Max.
Yeah.
But if you look at the base model, which is the R spec, in that 1000cc sport utility category, it is so competitive. I think it's around the same price as a General 1000, but it's actually a better deal than the Commander DPS, and you get more stuff. Like you actually get like wheels and a roof and all this great stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really good deal. It is a very good buy, and they've specifically targeted that to like, we're gonna crush the market with this vehicle and just put it out there with a bunch of good stuff. Maybe not Fox shocks or Walker Evans or whatever have you. No, it's not electronic valve. You don't need that to go and have fun. Like, yeah, that's cool, and those are great, but this is a really high value.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the thing that impressed me most was the ride and handling. It
very much based on the R-Max, so very similar in ride and handling.
And I know you guys love the R-Max.
But very different than old Wolverine. Very different.
That's the key.
That's the thing that people might get confused.
I don't understand why they use the name Wolverine, because like the Wolverine, but this thing is like
R-Max Light.
Yeah,
even though it's not really, but it needed to be R-Max Light, because it's better than the old Wolverine by a long shot.
You'd be like Q-Max, one step before the R.
I would have had to go back and done my
Yeah, you did.
I just did.
That's good alphabet.
I just did.
Cool, so those are solid picks.
My experience this year has been slightly different than you guys, because the vehicles I tested are all like the check every box, like go take out a loan on your house to buy one.
Your Prada bag.
Right. I had to show up my Prada bag and my Louis Vuittons, right, to drive them. But a couple of vehicles that really stood out to me. First is the XPEDITION Adventure. Now we have the ultimate 5-seater full jam, but man, it's not vehicle-wise a new category. I mean, it's a 5-seat sort of general-ish type vehicle, but when you put that full cab on it, when you put that solid rear cover, hard glass around the box, it becomes a completely different vehicle to drive, to feel, just the way you use it. Obviously, that's the NorthStar, so it's heated and like air conditioning and the whole 9 yards.
Massage seats in it?
Well, I was really disappointed. I was driving and I said to our camera operator, I was like, man, my back's really sore. Why doesn't this thing massage my back? Like complaining. But I actually did have the thought that heated seats would make so much sense.
It would.
Yeah. They probably have it available.
They will sometime, yeah. But it's just such a again, refined vehicle that is really smooth, handles great, rides better than I think anything I've ever driven. And you can take your whole family in it. You stay dry, you stay warm, and all of your gear stays dry and warm.
Yeah, you can put the dog in the back or something like that, and like
absolutely. And if you fold the rear seats down, I can sleep in the back on a mattress.
Yeah.
So totally crazy.
So I agree with you. I think it's a really cool machine. I have to admit, when I first saw the price point, because let's make no mistake, it's almost 60 grand. We're almost at the $60,000 mark in Canada,
yeah.
But that's still 45 grand US. And when I saw that price tag, I was like, oh, dang, this thing's going to be amazing. Like, I'm so excited. And I'm like, this is going to be like getting behind the wheel of like a brand new Chevy Blazer, which incidentally costs less in Canada than this machine. And when I got in the driver's seat, I felt like I was driving a General, which is fine because the General's an awesome machine. I think Polaris missed the mark. They missed recognizing this as the evolution in their side-by-side category. You've got Ranger, you've got General, you've got Razor. This is the XPEDITION. And in my opinion, it was an opportunity for Polaris to showcase something like completely refined and completely different. And you know, that's the one thing about a vehicle at this price point. You either should have a bit more, where like in this case, it should be like dynamic stock. It should have Rhino racks, and it should have the, you know, the Overlander tent included. You should be able to drive it off the lot from the dealership without needing anything. Or if you're not going to give us more in the vehicle, give us more refinement.
See, I really felt that it was very refined. And the funny thing is, the couple guys I took riding with me who are off-road and truck guys all got in it and said, this feels like my truck. Now, is it a truck? No. Can it be a truck? No, because like your road vehicle has parts and stuff that won't survive being smashed through. I mean, I jumped it over at the track, right? So like you can't do that with your typical interior. You can't hose out.
I mean, you can, but
just one time.
You get one shot.
But driving it, that was the thing that got me on that vehicle. Was driving it felt like nothing I've ever driven in terms of smoothness, in terms of comfort. It just made me go. And it's funny, you said that the Wolverine was something you'd buy. When I was done with that vehicle, I was like, if I could afford it, this is the side-by-side I'd buy. Now, I will say this, the Adventure XP model that doesn't come with the completely closed rear, I don't get that. That's just a General. There's nothing about that that's special to me. I was not impressed with that. But
it's a two-row General.
It's a two-row General, right.
Yeah.
When you put that back on it, you can close the back, it becomes something different.
It's like a little Jeep.
It's like a not that little though.
Yeah,
it's pretty big inside.
It's got like 33s on it.
Yeah, so the other vehicle that I really was impressed with, and it's one I just got the opportunity to test, and I have three, I'm sorry, but I'll go through the next two quickly, was the Maverick R. And if you're not impressed by the Maverick R, Can-Am really screwed up, because this is everything that you can possibly do to a sport side-by-side is done. It's the biggest, it's the baddest, it's the most powerful, it's everything. Don't have enough fingers.
See, I feel like you got to test out Ferraris and Escalades, and you're at home driving horses and buggies.
Yeah. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's just the way things lined up. But that vehicle was very, very impressive. Not just because it has the most travel and it's the widest and whatever, but because the technology inside is like next level technology and how it works.
And you got to ride the fully jammed out version.
XRS Smart Shocks, so like you can't check any more boxes. And
again, though, it's in that same category that I think we're going to hear, and we have been hearing a lot of comments on when it comes to the XPEDITION, when it comes to the new Maverick, when it comes to the 2-liter Polaris. All of these vehicles, people harp online and say, yeah, but look at the retail price.
Okay, before you go there, though, let me talk about my third, okay? I'm actually moving up in level, so just give me a minute.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Okay, so
I know where you're going with this.
Then the next vehicle that I'm going to say impressed with, but there's a caveat to that, is the Polaris Ranger XD 1500. That is a completely new category, something totally different. And Polaris didn't just come and say, we're going to build a vehicle that's ultimate work vehicle and then make it like stripped down and just crap. It is super nice inside. Like it is comfy and all the features and everything special. However, it is the most expensive side-by-side in the industry right now. Canadian, $65,000 Canadian.
For the Crew NorthStar.
Crew NorthStar.
So heat, AC,
fully jammed,
glass all the way around, lined interior.
Power windows, front and rear.
Windows. Like
no heated seats, but
and so definitely, you know, I know we can say, because we've read all the comments online, this is insane. Why is it getting so expensive? Why is it going here? And I get it, and trust me, like I wish that we were at a lower price point for all these vehicles so more people could afford them. COVID screwed up a bunch of that. I think we're past that now, but I think the manufacturers have got to the point where they're selling vehicles at that level, and they're not going to turn around and lower the price if they're all being sold. And I talked to a local dealer who had a Crew NorthStar Ranger 1500.
XT.
It's pre-sold.
Yeah.
Done. 70K, over 70K Canadian with tax. He already had it pre-sold and it hadn't showed up, and he said, I wish I could order another one. I'm like,
and that's the
mind
key.
blown.
Because I agree with both of you when it comes to price, that things are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But here's the reason why that's not something we should complain about. Because they're selling every one they make. So if it was like these dealerships were full of unsold, super expensive side-by-sides and ATVs, then you go, you guys are making a mistake. You're not talking to your market. But the dealerships aren't. They're empty. And I also feel, this is always my online when I do comment, it frustrates me when I comment on those posts.
That's why I keep you off there.
I know. But the thing I always say is, just because this expensive vehicle exists
Doesn't mean you gotta buy it.
doesn't mean you have to buy it. Every manufacturer makes this model, and then they make this model that is what most people should be driving anyway.
Absolutely.
Like one of your picks was going to be the Polaris Razor, the new Razor XP1000, right?
Yep.
There's a
Great
vehicle
machine.
that is not a turbo, that is not a Pro R, yet will hit jumps, drive dunes, power
Highest
trails.
performance machine. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it floats at around.
It's almost 30 grand.
Yeah, it's almost 30 grand. I mean, which is I know that's not chump change. It's still pricey, but it's not the $60,000 mark, and yet can have a ton of fun.
Yep.
You know,
But I will say to all those points, like some of that budget level entry side-by-side vehicles have gone away. Like 570 Razor, no longer available, which I think is a big mistake, because
too.
how many of those have we seen out on the trail? The old 450 Ranger, probably the motor doesn't meet EPA standards or something like that. But do you remember the old two-seat Ranger midsize 450, or they made a 400 for a while too, and it was like $89.99. Now this is 10 years ago. I know it couldn't be the same thing, but I think the entry level Ranger now is like $15,000.
That's what I think. That's what I think people should be complaining about.
The entry
not
level
not
price,
the price of the high-end models. Forget about that. Stop complaining about the price of the high-end models. They are what they are. They are.
Well,
the
hold on a
Ferraris.
sec.
But
Let's
why are the
say
budget
this.
models getting more expensive?
Yeah.
That's where we should be talking.
The complaint about price is valid, but it's clearly, if you're complaining about that price, it's not the vehicle for you.
That's
and
just
it's not the
simple
one
as
you
that.
should be on. Make no mistake.
There's
it's
going
expensive.
to be comments. I could buy that if I wanted to, just so you know.
Well, I always compare it. I've had kind of fun with this. I always compare things to Yamaha Raptors, because in the U.S. a Yamaha Raptor 700 is 10 grand. It's like, I mean, that's still expensive, but that's a high performance vehicle. So for this, in the U.S. you can buy 4.5 Raptors.
So when we bring up the pricing scale, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1/2 Raptor. But you're right. Like you don't. Yeah. Things are getting expensive. The comment is legit, and people's concerns are legit. Yeah, you can go and buy a used vehicle, but we've gotten more expensive over the years. We have gotten dramatically more expensive, but show me a market that hasn't.
Yeah.
Groceries, pickup trucks, toilet paper, everything has gotten dramatically more expensive.
When you jump back to what you were saying about, you don't have to buy these vehicles. The reality is they're going to sell every single one, just like you said. It's not to say that they're going to build 10,000 units. They're going to build a small volume, but they will. They'll sell every single one, and they'll all sell out. And I don't know. My feeling is, as the adventure line or the expedition line advances, maybe we'll start seeing either some price changes, or, like I suggested, more refinement and more offered.
Well, if there's
stock,
one thing
right?
Polaris does well, it's refine vehicles year after year and continue to add
It's
stuff.
true.
So I agree
very
with
true.
what you said. I would like to see the Adventure Ultimate come with dynamics. I think it makes so much sense there, and I would like to see it come with heated seats. Those are two things you could do to a vehicle that costs almost $60,000 that would make you go, huh, okay, well that's not that bad of, like, a pretty good value, right? Because I get all this extra stuff.
You're getting all those extras.
Yeah.
And of course you can jump it.
Well,
more than once.
Probably, we're not recommending you do that.
do all the windows go down still?
I was worried more about the windows just breaking that don't go down.
At the end of the day, I think I'll make a prediction. You're going to see the retail price of these vehicles drop.
Probably just slightly.
As sales drop,
Yeah.
and as dealerships have more on the lot. We know from other industries, you're seeing a lot in the boating market, in the RV industry, in the snowmobile market. You're seeing a lot more product on dealerships' showroom floors, which you couldn't purchase over the past 2 years. You couldn't go in and get one. You just had to take what you got or put an order in and hope that it shows up. I do think that retail prices will drop slightly over the next 12 to 18 to 24 months. Is it going to be dramatic? I don't think so, because I think we've gotten to a point where they're not going to be able to drop 10K on any of these vehicles. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But do I think that there's probably some
Wiggle room
retail
there.
incentives coming? Probably, because
Sure.
the market is changing.
And at the end of the day, if showrooms are full of unsold vehicles, they're too expensive.
Yes.
Simple as that. If showrooms are empty of vehicles, you can't buy one.
They're
What are
selling
you
all they got.
how can you complain about that? You just can't.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, RVs, dealerships are packed. Truck dealers, dealerships are packed.
Boats,
dealerships are packed. Pontoon boats, you can't even get rid of one right now. So it is, and even snowmobiles this coming winter,
there's a lot
snowmobile
of dealers
dealers
with
have
stock.
got a lot of unsold products.
Yep.
So it's gonna happen in the off-road world. Prices are gonna have to normalize a little bit. And at that point, who knows where
They'll
we'll
make
end up.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And the best advice we can give probably to our audience and our viewers is just play within your budget.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to buy these expensive ones. There are awesome performance machines at value prices,
As
and
we've
every
shown,
manufacturer.
In this talk right here, there's been every level of value, and every one of them is equally as much fun.
Off-road is fun no matter how you do it.
Absolutely.
Play within your budget. I think that's a good
That's a great one. Yeah.